Good morning, Toledo. It's Ryan Fowler from NBC 24 and the Toledo Free Press. Pinch hitting today for Joe Rignowski, who is back home in St. Louis enjoying the Father's Day weekend. Happy Father's Day out there to all you dads. And actually, we have two pinch hitters in today. Not only myself filling in for Joe, but Tim Feely producing the show in for Brandon. So we welcome him in as we try and get through the next 2 hours. It is the Sunday morning ticket tailgate show. And again, happy Father's Day out there to all you dads. A big day for you. A little grilling, a little good eats, a little good times as we get ready for Father's Day 2009. This show would be really interesting to go a different route. If anybody knows me, if anybody's met me out in the public, I like to be a little bit creative. Now, it is Father's Day, and one of the main reasons I'm in broadcasting is because of my dad. I mean, this guy knows more about sports than the average person, and he got me really into it at a very young age, and that could be a good or bad thing. But my dad, Keith Fowler, is sitting in with me today as my co-host. He's from the Cleveland area, Brunswick, Ohio, about 30 minutes south of Cleveland. And I'm going to welcome in right now Keith Fowler. Dad, how you feeling? First time on the radio.
Well, Ryan, first of all, I'd like to thank you for inviting me. This is quite a treat. For years, I've been trying to put forth my my opinions, wanted or not, in some forum, and I finally get my chance at this tender age. But again, it's great to be with you on Father's Day, and this is going to be quite a treat. Hopefully, we'll have a lot of good conversation about not only this area, but your Cleveland sports and quite a state that it's in at this time.
Exactly. Now, my dad, for those that don't know, and most don't because you're just meeting him for the first time, he's 57 years old, so he knows a lot about the Cleveland sports scene over the past 50 years. He's been through the ups and the downs and the downs and the downs, because really since 1964 and that Cleveland Browns team, he has really little to cheer about as far as championships in Cleveland. So just to stress this, I know we're in Tiger country, I know we're big into Detroit sports scene, but being that my dad and I are from the Cleveland area, this show is going to be really Cleveland heavy. So for all those Cleveland sports fans out there that have wanted to vent their frustrations, whether it be the Indians, and we'll get to that, or the Cleveland Cavs or the Cleveland Browns, feel free to call in. We're going to have an opinion on it. We're going to have a take on that. So if you want to get in on Cleveland, you can call in today. The phone number is 419-720-1470 or toll free 1-866-720-1470. It's the Sunday morning ticket tailgate show. Ryan Fowler from NBC 24 and the Toledo Free Press, alongside on Father's Day, my dad, Keith Fowler. So to jump right into this, I'm going to throw a question out there to our listening audience. It is Father's Day. Your favorite father-son duo in sports in history. They didn't have to play at the same time like the Griffeys did. You could have the Mannings. You could have the Griffeys. You could have, as my dad pointed out, the Howes in hockey. So right now, the question of the day, favorite father-son duo in sports over time. And again, the phone number, 419-720-1470 or 1-866-720-1470. I'm going to throw it out to you, Dad. Let's get into that question. Favorite father-son duo in sports over time.
Well, in thinking over the various sports that we could have delved into, I think that at least from recent memory, it would be tough to beat Archie Manning, yeah. Peyton Manning, Eli Manning. Those are three pretty good ball players in their own right. Unfortunately, Archie probably didn't have the surrounding cast that his right. That his sons are playing with right now. But I do remember watching him in college down in Mississippi, and he was quite a player, and also performed fairly well in the pros. And his son's accomplishments have been noted over the past few years. So I guess that would be my favorite. I also got to see Gordie Howe actually play on the same team with his sons Mark and Marty back in the old World Hockey Association for the Houston team. And I'm sure that was quite a thrill for Gordie, who played well up there in years. And I know he spent quite a bit of his time hoping to have that chance one day to do that. And he had his dream realized. So that would probably be my two favorite ones from a local standpoint in Cleveland. I do remember Gus Bell down in Cincinnati, and of course his son Buddy played for years with the Indians.
An icon in Cleveland. Buddy Bell.
Absolutely, and was on the coaching staff for quite a while. Also, I guess managed out of Colorado for a period of time. He was a golden boy up there in some of those lean years in the 70s. So, and then, of course, his buddy's son, David, played for various teams.
Right.
So those would probably be my
Yeah, I think the Mannings are a great call because you have to just look at their success. I mean, Archie, he was known before Peyton and Eli got into the league, and now you have Peyton and Eli with rings on their finger, which a lot of sons can't say, but and you have two of them that have rings. So, I mean, obviously, a great call there. Again, question of the day. Favorite father-son duo in sports over time. I was pretty partial to Griffey getting to play with his dad, Senior. I thought that was pretty cool. And I know Mr. Feely to my left producing the show is a big Reds fan, so I know that when Griffey and his dad got to play together, that was pretty cool. All right, with that said, we're going to get right into the Cleveland Indians talk. And my dad has had enough built-up frustration for the past 3 years with the way the Cleveland Indians have played. And getting right into it, in case you haven't paid attention to the Indians over the past 2 days, Kerry Wood is rewriting what it is to be creative on how to blow a save, even though he's making $10 million in the deal that he signed with Cleveland in the offseason. I always thought that was a little overpaid, and being that he hasn't got many close situations and save situations, and then when we do call on him, he's managed to blow games to his former team. Conspiracy, maybe needed to owe some money to some Cubs fans, but it's just been a microcosm of what this team has done this entire season to blow games left and right, and it just seems like nobody's getting on track. So, Dad, my question is, and we talked about this earlier, from 2007, where they were one game away from the World Series, beating Boston in Cleveland, to now. What has happened to this team that was so close to a World Series? Had they beat Boston in 2007, people think they could have beat Colorado in that series, and I think that too. But what has happened over that 2-year span?
It's really hard to say based on the fact of the material that they had back in 2007. Now, I guess you could start by looking at the 1-2 combination of C.C. Sabathia and Fausto Carmona. They had a 3-1 lead. They had it, and neither one performed.
Right.
C.C., of course, has since left the premises and is now performing in the spotlight of New York. And I think he's having some trouble there. He's pitched well, probably not as well as they thought he might, but he's the savior of that staff at this point. Fausto Carmona, I'm not sure what's happened there. Of course, he started off as a closer, had a horrible experience in that end. They made him a starter, and of course, he had a phenomenal year back in 2007, which was basically his rookie year. I believe finished fourth in the Cy Young voting, and then last year started off slowly and then got hurt, and has not been able to come back. I'm just not quite sure. What the solution is. I guess at this point they've sent him all the way back to the instructional league in Arizona, probably to work on his mechanics and his confidence.
Right. And we need more of that right now.
There's probably several other candidates that should probably go that route, but you can't send everybody back down there. I think basically. It starts at the top. I think the owner, Larry Dolan, after this year or maybe before this year ends, has to take a hard, strong look at his entire organization, especially the area of talent procurement, scouting. This organization seems to have had a problem in evaluating talent. They either over-evaluate it or think too highly of it when it's not there. And then when they did try, if the point comes in where they do try to bolster the team, some of the pickups are not quite what they thought. Then they have, because they are a small market, the problem of signing these people, so they have a tendency to overpay them.
Right.
Then they're left with large contracts. There's no room for movement as far as roster spots because they feel they're locked into these people. They have to give them a chance because of the money they're expending. Yeah. So
a lot of different areas that they need to definitely address. We're going to go to the phone lines real quick to jump in on this. Art is on the line. Art, you want to talk the Indians? We want to hear what you have to say. You're on the air.
Well, good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You know, you guys being from the Cleveland area, I have fond memories. I'm a graduate of Heidelberg College.
Okay.
From 68 to 72. Played basketball there, but in my travels to Berea, for many a sporting event, there was a football coach there who you guys will remember by the name of Lee Trussell.
Absolutely.
And he had a little average quarterback son named Jim Trussell.
Know him well.
So I have fond memories of going to Little Berea, Ohio, to play Baldwin Wallace.
Well, Art, just a little quick interjection here. It's a small world that you would call on that topic. My dad actually went to BW, and that's where he met my mom. My mom also a BW graduate, so small world there that you would call in on that topic.
Oh, well, yeah, no kidding. But I'll tell you what, it was Division III, but it was still fun to play. As far as your Indians go, in light of Jim Leland getting a contract extension, I guess we have to talk about, even though I'm a Tigers fan,
yeah, right.
From a distance, I've always been curious about how Shapiro and the current coach at Cleveland got along and what's been going on behind the scenes, because seems to me that they've made some bad mistakes personnel-wise, whether it was financial or what, I don't know. But my question to you guys would be, what do you think of Shapiro as a GM, and what's the future for Eric Wedge? Because he's going to be the fall guy, there's no doubt.
Yeah, absolutely. Art, thank you for the call.
You got it.
Dad, you have to remember you're on the air. There are FCC regulations, so we have to be careful on how we answer this. There are some rumors in Cleveland of the relationship between Shapiro and Wedge, but at the bottom line, all jokes aside, it comes down to money, and they're cheap. And I know you have a take on this, so I'm going to let you go with how the Shapiro-Wedge connection works there in Cleveland right now.
Well, Art hit it right on the head. It's interesting. He said, what do you think of the relationship? Well, the relationship, since it was formed back in 2002 or in that area when the Dolans took over the team, they were brought in as basically a business partnership. Mm-hmm. The mission statement, as in any business, was formed with these two being the cornerstones of them. And quite frankly, their relationship has been unbreakable, solid, concrete. What one does, the other will follow, and vice versa. I'm sure all the personnel decisions are discussed fully between these two, more so than I think in many other organizations as far as the general manager relationship is concerned. But I think the proof is in the pudding, and I think at this point in time, Mr. Wedge, as Art indicated, will probably be the fall guy, and I guess in some respects, rightfully so. I mean, he does. I mean, it's his job to have the 25-man roster perform competitively.
But let's get back to Shapiro. I mean, he's the guy that brought in these guys that might be over-evaluated. So is it more the scouts issue, or is it more the general manager's issue from signing these guys?
Yeah, as I mentioned before, I think, especially after this year is over, because I don't think there's a lot you can do during the season, but I think a very, very hard look needs to be taken at the end of the year as far as talent procurement is concerned, and especially in the scouting area, because supposedly most of the Indians' good talent is in the low minors right now, and that's fine as long as you see some progression. The problem we have in this organization is some of the talent never reaches or never comes to fruition, as it will. You don't see them on the major league roster. They either build up their farm systems so that they can, have something there to trade if they do need a piece here or there. There's never been a solid plan in place as to what to do with all this talent.
Well, and the other thing is, too, they rushed their talent up there so early. I mean, you look at David Huff, the poor guy got thrown into the fire, and he got his confidence rocked in his first few outings. He's kind of stabled off a little bit the last 3 starts, but his ERA is still through the roof. And then you've seen it time and time again, them rushing the talent up through the minor leagues because they need to fill a void up at the major league level, whether it be injuries or lack of production. So the Indians have been known for rushing that talent. Ryan Fowler from NBC 24 filling in for Joe Rignowski alongside my dad on Father's Day, Keith Fowler. We're talking Cleveland Indians baseball right now. Sunday morning ticket tailgate show. Phone number 419-720-1470. Toll free 1-866-720-1470. It is the Sunday morning ticket tailgate show. We got you here until about noon. So let's continue on with this Indians talk. Do you blow up this team and start from scratch, being that you were a couple outs away from a World Series 2 years ago? Do you trade the big names, Victor Martinez, Grady Sizemore, to build up that minor league system? But if you trade them, the minor leaguers that you trade for have to play now, right? What do you do?
Yeah, I don't think anything can be overlooked as far as the answers are concerned at this juncture, because I don't think you have enough of a base here to formulate a competitive team, at least in the foreseeable future. And I know the fans don't want to hear that, but if you keep on handing out the party line that yes, we are competitive, yes, we can't. I mean, just look at the everyday lineup of this team. And there's no set lineup to this team. Every day there's something different every time they go out there, and Wedge does that in the hopes that he can find something that's going to work. And thus far, he just doesn't have enough pieces to do that at this juncture. He's got Sizemore hurt, and there's another individual that I've got some problems with right now because I think he has really regressed from when he first came up. He strikes out way too much at this point in time. That may or may not be due to the injury.
Yeah, actually, I want to just a quick interjection there. I did a little research last night. The Indians batters, 557 strikeouts, the most in the American League to this point. So, I mean, right now the Indians bats, they might be coming around a little bit. But if you take out that blasting to New York, whatever it was, 24-0, you take that game out, this team, their batting average wouldn't be as high, their runs per game wouldn't be this high, and their offense wouldn't be looked at as strong as it is because as Drubel's hurt, he was your other mainstay as far as offense. Victor's, he's raking. I mean, he's your most consistent hitter right now. Shin-Soo Choo's good. I have no problem with him. I mean, he's not the answer by any means that we had back when we were close to the World Series or at the World Series. He's not that power stick that you would kind of look at. But right now, you look at so many problems that the pitching staff has with the bullpen, but at the same time, there's so many question marks with the hitting also.
Yeah, as we were talking before we went on the air, and of course everything does start with pitching. But I think the problems with this organization can be termed, and this is in relation to the Detroit fans. For every Rick Porcello, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
That's playing for Detroit. The Indians counter with a Jeremy Sowers, who was a high draft pick out of college and has had numerous chances to perform for this organization. The David Huffs, the Aaron Laffeys, who's been hurt more than he's been healthy.
Right.
It's always something with this team. Now, whether it be injuries, and I did read a quote in the paper today, the first thing that came out of Shapiro's mouth after yesterday's game was, besides the fact that you can blame me for this, and he really does need to say that, is the problem are the injuries. Well, you cannot blame your problems. Exactly. You can only do that so many times. Every team has injuries. You have to have the wherewithal to overcome those and perform.
Well, here's my question. Okay, Shapiro's saying, looking at the injuries, the problem is Kerry Wood's healthy, and he had a 5-4 lead going into the bottom of the 13th or whatever it was. It's not like he's injured. So you can't look at a game where you lost like that and blame it on injuries. You had a 2-0 lead, and you had a lead in the 13th. Close the door. You're paying this guy $10 million to do his job, get 3 outs. Or, as one of my buddies talked about the other night, has he ever heard of a 4-out save? Bring him in early. Maybe that he comes in, maybe builds that confidence by getting that last out in the 8th or bottom of the 12th or whatever, and build that confidence that Kerry Wood has. Because if I'm correct, before Friday's game that he blew, he wasn't in a save situation since the end of May. So, I mean, he's not getting any reps, and I guess you could look at that as another excuse Shapiro could use. But for a guy to make $10 million and be who was hoping to be the savior, considering Joe Borowski's history, but at the same time, Borowski's looking a little bit better than Kerry Wood at this point in the season, and that's sad to say because he was awful. I mean, and they thought they picked up Kerry Wood thinking they were going to be a contender and everything like that. But I mean, it just seems like you can look at the injuries as an issue, but when you have a closer making $10 million, he's got to seal the deal.
Well, I think what happens is what's been the trademark of this organization since Dick Jacobs sold it to the Dolans, and boy, did Dick see them coming.
Yeah. May he rest in peace.
Absolutely, yes. We just lost him. He was a good owner.
He was,
and he let people do their job, but that's another story for another time. Presently, this organization is in shambles, except for possibly the low minors. I think what may happen around the All-Star break is I think they'll probably bring up the Michael Brantleys, who they got in the Sabathia deal last year. Mm-hmm. Maybe give Laporta another shot. They're going to have to do something to attract fans. These people are not going to go down there and occupy those seats while this continues. There's going to have to be some shakeup made, and it's just going to depend on the Dolans as to when and how big of a shakeup needs to be made, at least presently, and then take a very hard look at it in the offseason, and then we'll go from there.
Well, and it's funny, too, that you mentioned that people going down there and paying the money to watch this team play, and with the way the economy is, I mean, shelling out money for entertainment value is a high premium right now, and it doesn't seem like the Cleveland fans, whether they bought season tickets or if they're going up there at the gate and buying, they're not getting fair value for their ticket prices. And it's funny that we look at the Indians and we blast them and everything. The problem is the Central's not putting this team to sleep. They're 9 games out, so Shapiro and Wedge can look at it as, hey, we're still in this. They keep putting the same players in. They keep losing the same way in different creative ways, and it's troublesome that the Tigers are only 9 games up because Indians can look at it as, hey, we're still in this at the All-Star break.
Yeah, I guess any room for optimism has to be looked at by management, but if they really believe in their hearts that this team's a contender, they've got more problems than they actually do, because if you just watch this team play, and I'll go back to the old Bill Belichick line, I only go by what I see. Mm-hmm. And I don't see any reason for optimism or improvement as this team's presently constructed. A lot of organizational changes have to be made at some point in time.
Right. Cleveland Indians baseball, it's fantastic. All right, we're coming up on a break. I kind of want to give you a heads up what else is coming up on the ticket today. Tigers pregame against the St. Louis Cardinals. I'm sorry, they're not playing the Cardinals, are they? They're playing the Brewers, aren't they?
Yes.
Brewers, Milwaukee Brewers. Pregame is at 12:45. First pitch 1:05 today on the ticket. That's, again, Tigers playing the Milwaukee Brewers. Pregame 12:45. First pitch 1:05. It's a Sunday morning ticket tailgate show. Ryan Fowler from NBC 24 and the Toledo Free Press filling in for Joe Rignowski. Tim Feely producing the show, doing a great job spinning the dial. See, they say spinning the dials. There's no more dials anymore. So no, it's more like levers and touchscreen computers. Very high tech here. My dad filling in with me here as a co-host on Father's Day. And our question of the day for all you out there, favorite father-son duo in sports of all time. They didn't have to play at the same time, but we want your favorite father-son duo in sports. The phone number is 419-720-1470. Toll free 1-866-720-1470. On the other side of this break, we're going to reset the Indians talk if you want to call in and vent your frustrations. Right now, the Indians 9 games out in the AL Central. We'll talk about that. Tigers fans, please call in. I want to get your take, too. Jim Leland just signed a contract extension. Their pitching seems to be coming along. You had Alfredo Figueroa making his major league debut, looking strong yesterday. Maglio Ordonez is on the bench, so maybe we can compare the Tigers and Indians at this point. Cleveland Cavs talk. We got the draft coming up. A lot to get to in the next hour and a half. You're listening to the Sunday Morning Ticket Tailgate Show on 1470 The Ticket.
Willkommen. In German, it means welcome, an offer to come and join in. Something